my far right, Greg Sheets,
Mike Denambly.
Cindy Kirkoffer.
Terry Dill.
Tricia Lemminger, Deputy City Attorney.
You all received minutes of the March meeting prior to today's meetings. If there are no revisions, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
I'll move to approve the March meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. First order of business, presentation updates, Emerson Avenue. A lot of work happening on Emerson. As you can see, the towers are being painted. I think we have two that are about 70% complete. With that, the wall on Emerson, the Amtrak wall, the repairs are about 90% complete, where the crack fill that was approved at the last meeting. Also with that, there's the clean out of the drain pipes down at the bottom of the wall that drain into the pipes underneath and come back down to the Garstang area. Those are about 50% complete. I seen the sidewalks was tore out today where those drains come down, and those repairs are being made. With that, there are 2 foot by 3 foot painted pieces on the wall. If anybody wants to drive by and look at those, one's a orange color and one is a deep brick color. Was that? And the deep brick color is going to be the color of the wall. We've had a lot of people go by, look at it, and tell us what they thought of the colors, and so it will be the deep color, and I think it looks pretty sharp. So anybody would like to go look at that, it's about halfway between in the middle of the wall, so you can check that out. Lights, we should have the lighting fixtures within the month. There was some delay in getting those. It wasn't the light itself, but the poles were not in stock, so it was going to take a little extra time to get those. Other than that, that's all we have on Emerson, if there are no questions. Yeah.
On the Emerson Avenue project, it's going to subway to Churchman Avenue, the embellishments, correct? The project that NDOT's doing now from Churchman to 465, are you planning any lighting or embellishments
No.
at all? So
No.
that's all NDOT?
No,
Correct.
that's correct. Aaron Gilberti is not here, so we will not have an update on Digital City. And it was postponed the last meeting that they were going to take another 60 days to figure out what vendor we would choose for that project. So we'll skip over there and go to Greenway with Cindy.
I have nothing new to report since our last meeting about the Greenway. We got our grant application in by, there are 2 different deadlines, March 1st for the city and April 15th for the state, and both were submitted timely, and now we just hurry up and wait for the state to make its decision, and we just feel like we've put together a great grant application, and boy, we hope we get the money.
Any questions?
Yeah. Last year, you applied for the same grant, correct? You were turned down?
I believe, I was not the stakeholder at that time. I do believe
That is correct.
Okay, this time, what did you do differently this time with the application?
More detail. From what I understand by talking to a few gentlemen from the DNR, we needed to really build in more detail where things are going to be, how things relate to community, how things interact with Main Street, other greenways, trailheads, restrooms, just much more drill down, show us what your real plans are going to be. So we feel like we hit the nail on the head with those and made our plan much better this time.
You'll know sometime in the middle of the summer if you got it?
We don't have a hard date. We suspect late summer, early fall, so it could be August or September.
We had 2 separate meetings with the DNR folks also to help us drill down into what needed to be in the application. And the first meeting was them to give us what we needed to do, which we thought that's what we did, and then we invited them back and said, okay, now how does it look? And so after that second meeting, then we're fairly certain that we got down to where we need to be. Mike DiNapoli. Main Street.
Okay. Not a lot to report. Since the last meeting, we have not met with my focus group. We are meeting next week to review the second presentation of the 3D model. We gave them some suggestions and recommendations on what direction to go with this 3D model so that we can get it finalized and present it to the community. So next meeting, I'll have a lot more to report on at that time. So, are there any questions?
That's still just in the planning stages, correct?
Oh, the 3D model? It's just...
Is anyone allowed to go to the focus group meetings?
Not at this time. Not at this time while we're still making a lot of changes. We have a fairly good-sized group there that meets.
They are planning, so the focus group is the planning commission on this? Or is there any input from the Main Street merchants?
We opened a meeting for the Main Street merchants initially. We took their information. You attended that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And so what are you asking?
Is that going to be the only input?
That's not going to be the only input. This is just the design phase of the 3D model. Once we get to where we feel like we want to present it to the community or the merchants, we're going to schedule a meeting then. It's a little rough draft, yeah. So pretty rough. Dave?
So is the 3D model the same as what we've been hearing about the conceptual drawings? It's just an idea, or is it an actual plan?
It is, it's at the ideal stage. It's basically, we took a lot of the 2Ds that the merchants looked at. Were you at that meeting, Dave? No, you weren't a merchant. But anyway, the 2D model, we presented a lot of different various parking scenarios and different faces, looks on going down Main Street, and then we took it from 2D to a 3D, so it was very rough looking. There wasn't enough there to really show. Yeah, until we get it to that point, we're not going to open that up for discussion at that point. Does that answer your question?
The 3D model will also be a planning tool to help us get to where it needs to be. And with that, there will be input from Main Street merchants to help us get through that.
It just seems like we're spending an awful lot of money on conceptual drawings and 3D that are just no more than something for people to look at for a generality of what we may or may not do.
Well, we have to start somewhere.
On that issue, back when the redevelopment was done in the 80s or whatever it was, a few years ago, Ball State came in and did almost all of the design for free. Have you ever thought of contacting them?
No, I'm not aware of any Ball State.
It was all free back then.
You usually get what you pay for then, don't you?
It looked good when it was done.
Yeah, but we're redoing it again, so.
Pardon me?
I said that, yeah, but it doesn't look good now.
It's been about 15 to 18 years.
Yeah, it's been quite that long.
Yeah.
There were flaws in it.
Cindy, youth study.
Youth study. Mr. Blue of Innovation Creations had hoped to have the youth study wrapped up by, I think it was the end of March. He's a little behind. We hope that he gets this done within the next 3 or 4 weeks. He had about 180 participants, and he's gathering the data and putting it into some kind of reportable form that we'll understand, and I hope to have something, I hope by mid-May. Questions?
Any questions for Cindy?
Well, that'd be the completed product at the end of May.
Yes.
Is that, I was at the meeting in September of last year. Is this the study you paid $16,000 for?
Yes.
And you had 180 kids attend?
Yes.
So far.
I wish I had a calculator, 180 into 16,000. How many?
16.
That's,
16,000 kids?
that's so far, we're not done.
16,000 what?
$16,000 to pay for the survey,
Oh.
is that correct?
Yes.
I understand the kids.
The next item on the agenda is zoning compliance. It's really not new business, and this is just for information purposes. So it should be under the presentation updates. I'm going to have council tell us a bit about how zoning compliance works in the city of Indianapolis, and then I'll tell you what we're working on here.
Thank you, Mr.
Chris.
Chairman, members of the board. Indianapolis obviously has much larger resources than what the city of Beech Grove does. So in terms of zoning compliance, variance, and rezonings, they have several different departments that handle those. Zoning inspections and compliance are in one area, and then the Department of Metropolitan Development has a zoning staff that helps with the variance process and the rezoning process. So as Beech Grove goes through all these processes, we can do rezonings here, obviously, through the city council, and then the variance process, we have our own board of zoning appeals. The inspection part and the zoning compliance is kind of a new animal here, and we're working through that. I've had meetings with the zoning compliance staff from Indianapolis to work through their process, as well as with the staff planner, Linda Albrand, for the Department of Metropolitan Development, which is the Indianapolis planner that's assigned to Beech Grove that does make recommendations both to our city council for rezonings as well as to our board of zoning appeals for the variance process. So we're learning the inner workings of what Indianapolis does and working with them to make a better application for Beech Grove, for efficiency for the citizens through that process, as well as to provide them with as many resources and assistance with compliance and BZA matters.
Any questions on that process, how that works? We've had meetings, a few meetings in recent months with a number of people, one including David Kingan, the mayor, myself, the head of zoning for the city of Indianapolis, city planners from Indianapolis, trying to figure out how we can bring Beech Grove into compliance with zoning. Our goal is to assist business owners in becoming compliant. Now, we've had 100 different variations on how to accomplish that, but none have worked for everyone, for every person so far. So I just want to let you know we're still working through this. We want to work for the business owners to get them in compliance and not cost them an arm and a leg, to help them through the process. Hopefully, my goal is to help them get to the idea of filling out the paperwork, help them fill out the paperwork, direct them into the right places, the right government entities to get the information they need to get their zonings taken care of. So that's what we're working on. We're not there yet, but hopefully we'll have that in next coming weeks. Any questions? Yeah.
Terry, I was on the variance board for 6 years. I don't think people totally understand what happened here. The city of Beech Grove turned in all these businesses for zoning violations when they could have kindly went up to these folks and asked them to change some things. But now, like the L&R machine, it's cost him $4,000 in attorney fees, not counting the improvements he has to make of about $15,000.
Well,
We could have, avoided a lot of problems by just approaching these people.
well, there's many different versions in how zoning happened
No, that's a fact.
starting in January. Well,
David Keenan
there's
paid $16,000.
excuse me, there was a couple different variations on how it happened. One of them, people said David Kingan, and in some cases David Kingan was, in some cases David Kingan was not. I happen to have a business on Main Street that was cited for violations, and David Kingan was not part of that. So, you could say in some cases he was, in some cases he wasn't. Indianapolis was here, and it just carried on from there. So,
he can't, turn a blind eye, I understand that.
Yeah, so,
As a supplement to that, Indianapolis, their zoning staff, if you meet with them, they will tell you if they are at property owner A and they look next door to property owner B and they do see compliance issues, they have an obligation, obviously, to pursue those compliance issues. So one visit can trigger others from Indianapolis, because when they drive by and see things, they've got a duty to, obviously investigate as part of that.
yes.
Can I ask why this is such an issue now? A lot of these businesses have been operating under these same guidelines in the same ways for 10, 15, 20 years. Why is this an issue now?
Well, it would be difficult to redevelop and push redevelopment and attract new business if the businesses that exist today are not in compliance with zoning. If we go out to attract a business on Main Street and they drive down our alleys and they see what's there today, I'm not sure they'd be too happy with that. I'm not sure they'd like what they see. So I think it's important that we clean our house now and become compliant so that we can go out and aggressively bring business into the city of Beech Grove.
But that could have been done with a simple letter from the city, not in turn opening up a huge can of
Well,
worms.
we're trying to fix the process, and that's what we're working on.
What's the biggest stumbling block you have in that, in compliance?
There's a number of different government entities involved. The city of Indianapolis is involved in the process. They're the ones that actually come out and do the inspection. Then we're trying to help at that point to get them through and get their variance, but there's another step in the process where city planners come out and will state at that point that there's more problems and you have more to fix, and we already have people in front of the variance board. So it's a process that's not working very well. We want to get people to streamline through that process, get them to the variance board, have all their T's crossed, I's dotted before they get there, and know that when they get there, their variance is going to get approved.
What's the number one compliance complaint? I mean, what's the number one?
Oh, I couldn't tell, I don't,
Trash cans, or trash dumpsters aren't screened in, not enough parking, sign issues, no handicap spots, things like that. There's not a building down here that has enough parking.
right.
I'm fortunate I do.
Yeah.
I do have a handicap spot. I think that's why they passed me over, and I don't have a dumpster.
Yeah. So,
You're one of how many?
This is one right next door was right in.
any other questions? Next, we have review of claims. If everyone has seen the claims docket, I'll entertain a motion to approve that.
Just a minute.
While Greg's looking at that, is there any other miscellaneous business for any board members? No? Any other comments from our visitors this evening? If not, I'll wait for that motion.
Sorry, everybody.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
You're
I'm
getting
sorry?
ready- Are you getting ready to close the meeting?
Yes.
I'd like to speak for just a minute.
Okay, let me finish my motion, and then we'll get back to you, please. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Yes, sir.
I just want to say that most of us out there don't understand what's going on. I'm sorry to say that. Nobody has written anything down in 7th grade language that we can understand. We can come in here and we go to meetings and we hear numbers and you vote on those numbers and they don't mean anything to us. That's your code or whatever you guys use. but I don't understand the overall picture of what you're trying to do. And I'm not the only one. If you talk to us senior people out here, we don't understand what you're doing. We'd like to see what you started with in simple 7th grade language and what your final result is to be.
Okay.
I don't think that's ever been put down. And why couldn't that be a article in Southside Times or something like that where we can all see a copy of it?
The people just want to know what's going on and they don't.
Internet.
Okay.
Not everybody has it.
I don't have.
I guess as somebody from the public and somebody who strongly supports the things that the redevelopment commission are doing, because I think I am well informed. I mean, I not only can go to the internet and look at everything that they're doing, but I also have gone to the mayor's speeches where he shows diagrams and explains to the public what's actually being done in Beech Grove. And so I think it's frustrating for the people that see the progress in the city to hear all the naysayers, when I think every single one of these people have tried as well as they can to communicate what is going on. And so that's just my comment.
But your point is well taken, sir, and we will talk about that as a group, and we'll see what we can do to get the public more informed. If it's a workshop, if it's something on the Beech Grove channel, or both, we'll certainly do that. We want you to be informed. My last point this evening was going to be about the survey that we sent out. Everybody received a postcard in the mail that asked about the survey. You can take a survey online, or you can send your card in or call and have a hard copy mailed to you and fill out the survey and send it back in. Now, if it doesn't explain that in there, please mark that on there, and that will help us get some information back to you also. But we will take it under advisement. Maybe we should do a workshop and talk about redevelopment as a whole.
Not everybody can show up here when we're having, that's the other.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a series of workshops. I don't know the answer yet, but
When I was working as an engineer and designing the product, I tried to write simply what this product was for, how it was to work, and what it was to accomplish. And that's how my letters went out. And that's what I'm used to. And that's what I think needs to be done here.
well, your point is well taken.
My name is Jim Lentz, by the way.
Okay.
Jim, do you read the Southside Times?
Understand a lot.
Pardon?
Do you read the Southside Times?
Yes.
You haven't seen anything
I've
written up,
seen some of
articles?
those. I don't understand everything because it's piecemeal.
That can be the writer of the article.
Pardon?
I say that can be the writer of the article
That very
as
well
much
could
as
be.
what we present. I don't know if it's written verbatim.
I don't understand the whole picture. And other friends of us don't understand the whole picture either.
Internet.
Well,
We've done TV
We
newscasts.
don't have internet and we don't have cable.
oh, okay. Well,
Okay?
that explains some of it, certainly.
And there's a lot of us out there that don't have internet and don't have cable.
When you get on satellite, we'll get you.
I designed a lot of work on computers, and when I get off the computer, I just don't care.
Well, we certainly want you to understand what we're doing, and we'll certainly make every attempt that we can.
But
to get it
as
to
older
the public.
citizens, we don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Okay?
This latest postcard that we received, is this a second survey?
It's the same survey. The first survey that went out went out to, it didn't go out to everyone. This went out to the entire city.
It's the same survey?
Yeah, yeah.
And how many people?
So far, we've had 237 people take the survey online, and we've had 30 people mail in to get hard copies.
How many times can one individual do the survey? Is it set up that we can only do it once? Or can one person get on it and do it 50 times?
Because my wife
It's
didn't
once.
have an opportunity to do it, and she had different answers than I did. That was a little bit despondent.
By paper copy or on the internet? On the
By the
internet? Okay.
By the internet, how many times can you do it?
Once.
Once and that's it, per computer?
Yeah.
Is that how it works? Real quickly, what Jim was saying, Jim, these people are all volunteers. And every one of them, except for Mrs. Manager, she's probably getting paid, but their heart is in the right place, and the ideas are good ideas. But people need to ask questions and what's going on. I'm gonna ask you questions, and I appreciate you answering the questions. But, you know, I appreciate
We're okay
you
with that.
spending your time doing this for free. And I know you're not getting paid.
And your point's well taken. We'll do what we can to get the public informed.
Terry, that 237, is that counting the 110 that answered the survey in 2006, or is that a different survey?
I didn't ask that question before I came down here, so I don't know.
And the only reason I know that is because if you go to the Brighter Beach Grove, it shows the first survey that went out that they had 110
Right.
responses.
Right.
So,
Right. I'm not sure if this is inclusive of that or not.
The initial one was all the email, people that signed up to subscribe. Wasn't that who the initials were?
I'm not sure. I
think
don't-
that's who it was.
Our next meeting will be May 17th, right here, and the city council meeting person for the month of May will be Cindy Kirkhofer. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we.
Make that motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you.